Monday, February 13th. Men, it is Valentine's Day tomorrow. So we must remember that. We must remember that. Your market look today, briefly kind of look through everything here, see what's going on. The DXY jumping a bit, 10-year yield jumping a bit. Again, every single time we come in here quick to look at this every day, we want to see what's going on. We want to see what is happening with the credit markets. The credit markets drive everything. That is the dog that wags the tail. We have to understand that is the driver of everything. If we understand that, then we understand what happened in the '08 crash. We understand what happened in September 2019, the repo market seizing up, and they had to print trillions to get out of that, and they needed a scapegoat to get out of that. Then everything, I tell a lot of people this too, if you put your communist or collectivist glasses on, everything starts to become very clear in life as to what's happening, why the World Economic Forum does what they does, the United Nations, the WHO, the Bank of International Settlements, the World Bank, IMF, all the Western governments, and you understand what is happening. It's very clear as to what is happening, what's transpiring, because we are run by collectivists all over the world. They have a grip. I call it the hippie bubble. It's the children that grew up in the '60s, and they weren't all wrong. Them not wanting to go to war. This is the irony in life at the end of the day. Them not wanting to go to war, quite honestly, when I was a kid, I thought that was egregious, but that's one of the things they did get right, in my opinion, is that they knew something was up. They knew something was wrong. They sniffed it out, right? And the neocons, the neoconservatives for a long time, for decades, got this rap of being war hawks and wanting to go to war and stuff like that. Eisenhower warned us against the military-industrial complex doing all this. JFK didn't want to go to war. He gets taken out by Lyndon Johnson. Lyndon Johnson, boom, false flag, Gulf of Tonkin, and we're in war. We're in Vietnam. And we know the cost of that. In many ways, right? And so we go down this rabbit hole of what's actually happening, and we can start to see the frame of what is going on in life. The government constantly lying to us over and over and over again. If we can't even trust their inflation numbers, how are we supposed to trust them about UFOs and water balloons floating in the sky and wars and weapons of mass destruction and got to have affordable health care, Obamacare, and all, every single president's got these things. I mean, it's absolute clown world. Trump's going for negative interest rates, and we need negative interest rates. Biden's over here. A guy can't even walk up and down a stairwell. I mean, let's be totally honest. We're going to be adults, and I know most people in the world don't want to be adults right now, and they don't want accountability, they don't want responsibility in their life, and that's fine. That's not what we're going to do here, because we here have hope for humanity. We have hope for life. We know 99% of people are good people. That's why we're actually finding ourselves in tough positions, because most people are trying to do good things and trying to overextend themselves. They're trying to be too good, quote unquote. They're trying to do too much for too many people and hand out things. And when at the end of the day, humans are built to work. Humans are built to do things, and that's why I'm a Bitcoin proponent. Bitcoin monetizes greed. For the first time in history, we have a monetary system where you're monetizing greed. Actually, we didn't have that under fiat dollars, gold, silver. You don't have that. You don't have this ability to monetize greed and actually make it profitable and actually incentivize a system to be stronger and create fairer rules and have a system of rules, not rulers. It was always rulers, not rules. And so you have this going all the way back. Like I said, the hippie bubble are the people, the collectivists. If you put the collectivist glasses on, the communist glasses, and you can see everything that's going on in the world, you can see very clearly why they're driving us to destroying our supply chains and having massive inflation and telling us that's the only way it can happen, and we need 2% inflation, and we got to go to war. You think about it, this is irony in all this, and kind of wrapping this, coming to full circle. Traditionally the Democrat Party was a lot of that, the hippie generation and things like that. For a long time, it got switched. It's a long story, right? But at the end of the day, they were the ones that didn't want to go to war. In general, right? We're generalizing here. But they didn't want to go to war. Well, now they're the ones, in general, right? We're generalizing, but they're the ones, in general, that have Ukraine flags in their profile saying, let's go to war. What gives, right? So we live in this, coming full circle, it's really the fourth turning, right? This is why it's the fourth turning, because Bitcoin is breaking people's minds. As it's often said, Bitcoin destroys all your models, breaks all your models, it breaks people's minds. People are for it, then they're against it, and they don't understand it. It puts us all through the ringer, and Alex Danzig talks about the best. It's a crucible. Bitcoin is the crucible. It's the forging down, the firing, the distilling, this distillation process of truth. And aside from God, God is the Alpha, the Omega, something bigger than all of us, right? We're talking, in the human terms on this planet of what's happening and how to govern ourselves. Well, Bitcoin is that end all be all. It is the way to monetarily create truth in a control experiment. When you only have 21 million, and there'll never be more. And each slice of that pie gets worth more and more purchasing power. It becomes more and more valuable, and you can divide by anything by 21 million, and you have a constant. It's not moving goalposts. It's not moving interest rates. And there would be moving interest rates. In probably in a hyper Bitcoinized world, people have interest rates, and I'm sure people lend it out and stuff like that. But when you don't have this world where currency is constantly being debased, and interest rates are just constantly just at the whim of some fairy godmother and 12 people sitting in a room at the FOMC, then we can start to have some semblance of sanity. And that's what Bitcoin brings people. When you're seeing that already in early stages in El Salvador, in these places that are really, Bitcoin Beach, Madeira, these places that have it, and they're starting in these local communities, and they're starting to heal from the inside out because they fix the money, fix the world, right? People remove God from society and they break their money. Those two things together create massive, massive hard times. And again, it's the fourth turning, right? Hard men create good times create soft men create bad times create hard men, and the cycle repeats. So we're in that, we're living in that. And again, like you go through this whole thing. I try not to take these super long winded in these market updates, but boy, oh boy, there's so many things going on, so many distractions in life going on. And we're going to, like I said, we are going to talk truth here, no matter what. People don't want to hear those realities. They don't want to hear that their whole lives have been a lie. Well, sorry, that's what it's been, right? I've been living for 35 years, and my life was a lie for a long time because I was accepting, the narrative from one party, or I was accepting the narrative from certain family members or media or school, or whatever it was. And unfortunately, I didn't very long. I was a young child when I pushed back and would argue with teachers and professors, and it was just why, asking why, and no one ever had any good answers. So we know the truth. We know the truth in a lot of these things now because they're there for us if we want them. For eyes that are seeking, the knowledge is there. Like the credit markets, like the events happening here, 3.7 on the 10-year Treasury. So now the yields are selling off, bonds are selling off, and yields are going up here over the last week or two. We said keep an eye on this. We got warnings all over the place. We have the banks coming out again. Watching Greg Manarino. I'm trying to think of some other guys I'm watching that I'm watching all the time and stuff like that, and trying to triangulate positions. Nolan Bowerley, you're seeing all these things, the guys from different sections of the economy talk about things, and you really have to keep an eye on this. We see Greg Manarino again does a great report on just kind of keeping track of the banks and all the people doing the warnings, right? Whether it's Bank of America, JP Morgan. I mean, every day it seems like there's a new bank, there's a new massive asset manager coming out and saying, hey, warning, warning, warning. And liquidity, the email I get there, that's where I get a ton of the updates on just all the layoffs that are happening still every single day. More and more layoffs happening. I don't know what that leads to. That they're fudging the numbers. They're saying the numbers. We got a massive. We just showed the videos last week. Go back and look a week ago. All the videos of contradicting videos we had of the stats. We added 517,000 new jobs, but then we found like 100 articles with layoffs everywhere. And I posted them here. And all the massive. Payroll, I can't remember exactly what it is now, but just completely contradictory numbers, right? Suffice it to say, go back and check that again, trust but verify. Go look at what the research we had found and what we were looking at. So the DXY, the yield is jumping, or excuse me, the 10-year yield is jumping. So it's something to keep an eye on. Like we said, we have to watch this over the next couple of weeks and see what happens here. This is very interesting. Oil up to 80. So that it jumped back up again, almost 81. So it's jumping back up again. That's huge for commodities, obviously. But this is again that drives prices up over time. If that gets to 100, 120, 150, where a lot of people think it's going, there's a lot of people that think it's going there eventually. So that's going to drive prices higher. It's not inflation, but it's driving prices higher because of the cost of oil, gasoline, etc. So these are massive things to keep an eye on because of some of those things happening and the yields and what's happening with bonds and the credit market. Gold has been selling off again the last week or so. Silver really kind of taking a hit. And the DXY subsequently again is up over 103. So it's kind of, you see this big jump up and it's kind of stabilized a little bit, but it's up again a little bit. And let's back out a little bit, 25-year. So you can see down here it was way down for, what is it, the last 10, 15 years. It's been way down. I mean, the last time it's up this high is, other than the last year here is what, '02? So this is the last time. That was 20 years ago. This is the last time that it was up this high. So again, these are things to watch out. When bond yields are going up and they're selling off, again, that means people are moving into the dollar. They're scared, and that's kind of that trade we have to watch. We have to really closely watch what's going on there, along with oil, And like we say every time, crypto, that's why crypto's been selling off. That's why gold and silver, that's kind of the global liquidity indicators as to what's going on. So things are kind of tightening up a little bit here. That's in essence what it's telling us. You can see all these, a lot of the other garbage coins all getting crushed even more, obviously. So Bitcoin just, down 1%. So have to see the signal from the noise. Signal from the noise. So as Jeff Booth says, as a great article, follow up to his book, which is, if anyone's interested in the future at all, you have to read The Price of Tomorrow by Jeff Booth. And he has a great follow-up article called The Greatest Game, and then Finding Signal in a Noisy World. And I'll link them here, but they are incredible. Have to absolutely watch those. Phenomenal reads if you want to understand what's going on here. So let's look really quick. Is Bitcoin running? Let's refresh this, make sure it's running. Beautiful. It's running. Check the mempool, refresh that. It's running. So that's wonderful. As Nolan Bowerley would say, Bitcoin's running. The sun's up. All it's left to do is talk about what is new. So things are running. Things look great. They look wonderful. Actually, let's go back here. What's happening? Mempool is filling up. Blocks are being TikTok next block, as they say, right? So the hardest monetary network and computer network to ever exist, it is running. So that's not surprising. But we have to check it every day, because not everyone believes. And someday they will over time, right? But it's going to take time. It takes time. Inflation, we still know it's about 15%. Don't let the government fool you, like we said. If the government can't be trusted with a couple simple numbers, baskets of numbers to give us, they're shutting down numbers in Fred, and when we can't even see stuff now. They won't even track it for us. Inflation is 2-3 times what they say it is. So we have to understand, we have to say, well, you know what, if they're lying about little things, what do we learn from the Bible? What do we learn from mom growing up? If someone can't be trusted with little things, then how can you be trusted with big things? That's it at the end of the day, right? That is the answer. So this is the ultimate truth test right here. $31.5 trillion in debt. Where do we think that's going? Where do we think that's going at the end of the day? It's not going backward. So what are we going to do? What, as Michael Saylor said, what do you mean conviction in Bitcoin? That's like saying the chair that I'm sitting on, I've got conviction that it's going to hold me. Well, yeah, of course. If you want to call it conviction, it's just common sense. It's just like, the chair looks sturdy, I'm going to sit on it. Bitcoin looks like the best asset humans have ever discovered. Monetary asset, perfectly finite, meaning it's deflationary, and it will grow in value over time, unlike dollars, which will be printed into oblivion, so it'll lose value over time. That's all money is, right? Money is a container for your time and energy. That's it. That is all it is. All money is a container for your time and energy. And if it had a hole in it with inflation, it's just leaking your time and energy. It's leaking your wealth out the side. Bitcoin is a perfect finite container. That way it accrues value and nothing seeps out. Again, this is not financial advice. This is freedom advice. Money is freedom. Money is a proxy for freedom. Or, it's just another word for freedom. That's what money is. Money is a tool. It's nothing more, nothing less. Just like a knife, a firearm, a chair. It can be used to hurt someone, or I can use it for good things. I can sit on it, or I can bash someone over the head with the chair. That's all it is. It's up here. Bob Proctor, Jim Rohn, some of my favorite personal development people in the world, they would laugh, just absolutely laugh at the things people think about and how they think about them. Well, guns are bad and this and that, and a knife is bad, a car is bad. Cars kill hundreds of thousands of people a year, yet no one questions a car because everyone grows up with a car in the Western world, so they think it's okay. It's the most dangerous thing out there, right? Or pills. People just grow up with pills all around, they think it's okay, yet those kill hundreds of thousands of people a year, so no one questions it. Clown world. This is the dollar against Bitcoin. Not good. Not good, Bob. And then here is your life on Bitcoin in dollars. So this is your life. If you are keeping dollars over the last 40 or 50 years, everything in your life has gotten more expensive. This is eggs right now, but substitute car, house, anything. This is your life. You're having to find more dollars because they're printing more of them. You got to find more of those Babe Ruth cards. If you've been following us here, we use the Babe Ruth analogy. You have a Babe Ruth rookie card, and now Upper Deck comes to you and says, we're going to print 1 trillion more. We're like, wait, what? Yeah, we're going to print 1 trillion more. Well, now mine's worthless. Yep, sorry. That's your dollar. Substitute Babe Ruth card for a dollar, or peso, or yen, or renminbi, or whatever fiat currency you want. That's what's happening. You have to find more of those now because they just siphon your wealth away. However, if you hold in Bitcoin an asset that accrues purchasing power over time, because there's less of it over time, well, here you go. Now, not only are you buying more eggs, you're buying farms. You're buying not just a car, but you're buying the entire dealership because your life gets cheaper and cheaper over time and you accrue more purchasing power. So the takeaway at the end of the day is find the finite the perfectly finite asset for your finite time. There's only the two finite assets I know of, Bitcoin and time. Time is Bitcoin, Bitcoin is time. The only two finite assets I know of. So how would you trade for anything else? Any good investor would say, why would I trade my finite time for an infinite piece of paper or an infinite blade of grass or an infinite grain of sand? I can get those anywhere. I can get $1 anywhere. And when you start unlocking that part of your mind, everything changes for you. Everything changes. So please let me know your thoughts. I would love to know your thoughts on this and what's going on in the clown world we live in. However, the community is the biggest thing we have. The community is the biggest thing we have. And we're growing a community of like-minded people who are going to help each other, because we know in crisis comes great opportunity. We absolutely know that without a shadow of a doubt. Bob Proctor teaches us that. The Bible teaches us that. Every great communicator in the world over time in history has shown that. So how are we going to survive and thrive in what is coming? That is a question, and that's what we're doing here, and that's why we're preparing. Food, energy, water, barterability, land, as Lynette Zhang says, Bitcoin, gold, silver, firearms, security, and community. Community is the number one thing. So I appreciate your time and energy. It's the most important asset we have. And like I said, please comment in here what your thoughts are and what's going on. The Absolute Clown World has some more stories on the UFOs, just Absolute Clown World and the distractions that are being run on the average person, so they have no idea what's going on. We used to live in the physical world of the Roman Colosseum. Now we're in a digital age of invisible distraction, right? Social media, Hollywood, all that stuff. So now it's very easy to confuse people because they just, it's, upside down is right side up, and people just don't know. So now we have to kind of sift through that and see what the truth is. So please let me know. Please share this with someone you think might understand or might get this or might need to see this from someone else's perspective, or maybe it's right there and just needs that extra little push. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one.